Sorry about that, everybody. We had some technical difficulties, but we are back with game one of the bronze place match here between Knife and Fork Patrol and Johno Brown's Big Boys BENQ. My name is Coldblood, and we'll go ahead and jump straight into the action. We are at exactly 8 minutes, as we can see. Things looking very much in Knife and Fork Patrol's favour at the moment. But, we could always see the turnaround. So, we can see that, we might actually just finish this. Probably should have done that beforehand, but better late than never, they say. We'll just fix all this up. There we go. So, as we can see, the Kazakh's Rhinoceros is going pretty crazy. He's 2-1, doing quite well on the CS. The highest CS in the game is actually the Draven, who's a little bit scary. How much stacks of the passive does he have? Quite a few, it seems like. Does not have a kill just yet. We'll probably get a bunch of gold once that happens. So Ezreal has the tier of the Goddess Mulchinator, once again supported by Renzi, who is very good on the Thresh. We saw that in a previous game. Unfortunately, they did end up losing, and it looks like the John Brown guys, there we go, are all going to come in. They unfortunately do miss the initiation from Mountain Drew. They do have Olaf in here. They need to make this worthwhile. All 5 of their team have come down here, and it's not worked out for them thus far. They need to take a dragon or something to make this worthwhile. Shyvana is just going to be spam pushing top. We've seen what Vectasius does when he's left at top. They will try and turn this into a dragon, and Rhinoceros does have 4 points in the Taste Their Fear as well as evolved it, so he'll be doing a lot of damage. Doesn't have any resets though. Polecat going to try coming in here. At least going to be coming in, and Rhinoceros gets the dragon. That was a nice curse of the sad mummy. Polecat will end up falling, but Sentry may fall as well. Rhinoceros going to take a true damage to the face. Mountain Drew, can he get this? If he misses the bandage toss, he's going to be very annoyed at himself. No, the Tantrum will end up getting that, or maybe just the tears there. Ends up being 3 for 2 in JBB's favour, but the dragon did go the way of the blue team, so it can, in gold terms, definitely went the way of Johno Brown Big Boys, BENQ. I don't think they are actually with BENQ, but to themselves they are. So, Knife and Fork Patrol going to try and stop this tier 1 going down. The only structure to have fallen at the moment is the top that was abandoned to Vectasius, and we have seen what happens when he is left alone to his own devices. They certainly do not want that. Mountain Drew going to be coming from behind. Vectasius does have Dragon's Descent available, and it will use it to get out very, very quickly. Bandage Toss, of course, not available as it was just used. Meanwhile, in the mid, the Kale falling quite low, but does have intervention now. Divine Blessing will be coming up, and has a lot of mana and a couple of health bots going, so fair enough. See a Mumu going to be headed back. Mountain Drew, how much money does he have on him? He has 2,000. That is a lot of money. Holy heck, we're going to have to find out what just on earth happened, as we know that Kale is looking a little weak. Does have the Divine Blessing. Looks like Rhinoceros going to choose to go in any second now. He is going to use the Void Assault to jump on top of Kale, and the Divine Blessing will be enough until it runs out, and Rhinoceros going to get the last taste their fear. And Kale was certainly afraid at that point. So the mid-tier 1 going to be worked on now. True Shot Barrage going to try to be used to send that one off. Sindri not afraid to move around the map. Oh, he gets hit by the Cocoon, and there's no escaping that one. That he was in a lot of trouble once that happened. So it looks like Rhinoceros has actually gone for the Spirit of the Elder Lizards, which of course does give CDR and AD, so he's got a couple of items that give that. He's going to be very, very effective against low armor targets. We probably needed to see some kind of armor coming out of JBBB on the Kale, as young Neil going to be running around on the jungle. Elise has grown tired of the Ziggs, I guess, as or may get gone in here, but Victorious is in, and this Kale is very, very weak. Will Curse of the Sad Mummy be enough to get her out? No, Dragon Sting goes forward and gets ignited up. Young Neil may be able to get out here. Sindri is now in. Vector's forced to flash out, and Cocoon will land onto Sindri there. Does have Ragnarok, not going to use it though. Meanwhile, at the bot, Renzi manages to avoid the Whirling Death. Currently about 3,500 gold in the favor of Knife and Fork Patrol here in this first game of the bronze match, best of 3 series. There's a lot of damage going down on Poles and Polecat here, as the Elder Lizard being picked up by Ezreal as well, so does a little bit of true damage when he hits someone who's going for a blue build, which will make it very difficult for Vextatious to stay on top of him. But of course much easier with the Bork, which is finished at 13 minutes. Could decide to go for some more damage to try and push, or maybe go for maybe a Sunfire Cape or Spirit Visage, whatever she prefers. Rhinoceros going to take a little bit of damage, is basically at the CDR cap at this point without blue. So he's going to be spam jumping around like crazy, or more like spam thingoing. Melkinator, not often you see a blue Ezreal caught. He is forced to Arcane Shift and flash away. Poles is just freely farming away here. How much gold is he sitting on? 900. Must have picked up the pickaxe. Melkinator, got to be careful here. The hook ends up missing from Remvi, as Polecat looking quite low, almost takes a Mystic Shot to the face. Young Neil is here to lend assistance though, as in the mid lane we can see the Kazakhs going to get his way out. At the top lane, Sindri falling lower and lower. Will he end up going down? Bork is on cooldown. The Flame Breath almost enough to take down Burnout. Will manage to take that down in the end. 4 members of JBB are down here. The 3 members of Knife and Kitchen Patrol, or Knife and Fork Patrol, need to get the heck out. Kale advancing forward, manages to avoid the Cocoon there. And meanwhile, Rhinoceros helping himself to the blue buff, able to spam a lot now. Probably going to be looking to evolve the wings next, unless he wants another Void Assault usability, which if he evolved that, he could use it 3 times and he'd take less damage while doing so. So Vexatious spam pushing the top, as we know that he likes to do. Sindri falling lower and lower. Vexatious, he started that fight quite low. Rhinoceros trying to push in the mid. There will be the teleport by Sindri onto the mid tier 1. Try and stop it, but it may have been the wrong way to go in. Mountain Drew going to be there to stop the stop that aggression, and Sindri deciding to go mid, and get the push going, stop the push in its tracks. Mountain Drew, the only reason that he survived there, force Rhinoceros out. Wings are now upgraded. That Cocoon looked like it missed to me. Curse the Sad Mummy going to go off. Rhinoceros falling lower and lower. Now it's gone on to Young Girl. Flash out by Mountain Drew, and will he get out? He barely manages to use the reset to survive there. Very well done by Rhinoceros and Young Neil, who tanked the tower for his buddy. Actually, I think these two have switched. Normally Rhinoceros is in the jungle, but alas, they decided to switch it up, and it seems to be working for them. Sindri, very, very squishy with his build. Vexatious easily going to take that one down, and things falling into Knife and Fork Patrol's pocket all over the place. White being worked on by Poles, who's juggling both of his axes here, as Renzi manages to steal away the white. That was very cheeky, and I think Poles may have had something to say about it. Nice job. Poor bastard. So, Kale cannot flash over the wall. Has a bit of a giggle to herself because there's nothing she can do. And there we go. So, a lot of AD on this Kazakhs now, and you might get a kill from the true damage, not sure. Mountain Drew manages to get the red buff from Vextatious, as it looks like a Moo may be headed potentially for the Iceborne Gauntlet. We'll have to see what he turns these components into. Could, be haunting guys in Sunfire Cave, as well as a Dragon gonna go the way of Knife and Fork Patrol. And a lot of back pings going from the red team. They need to get out here. Kazakhs, will he be able to jump on top of Ezreal? Nice flay out of Remzi. Will stop that one in its tracks in the box. Will just further stop it in its tracks. The blue team still want to engage here. Mountain Drew does not have the ultimate for a little bit. Rhinoceros is going to be jumped on. Will they be able to take him down? Curse the Sad Mummy just came up, and Remzi forced to flash out there. Kale and Sindri coming into Vectatious will not be a part of this fight, and they could turn it around. Poles cannot get out. Polecat also going to be falling here. Can they turn this into any more? Of course, the Dragon did just get taken by blue team, so that's not at danger. But now Vectatious is looking to try and take the top lane tower. He seems to love ignoring his team and spam pushing, and I mean, if it works, why knock it? Well, there's red pings going on that they kind of need to defend the top. Looks like Molchinator going back just to do that, as young Neil moving around his own jungle. The bottom tier 1 may be under fire from the red team here, who spread out a little bit. Mountain Drew going to pick himself up the enemy's red buff. A nice one indeed. Molchinator trying to pull Vectatious away, will end up doing it because the Flame Breath did land onto Molchinator, who's working on his Sheen now. Young Neil, I don't think he can get out of this one, although he's juking the red team by quite a lot at the moment. Will he be able to rappel up in the air? He's used... Oh, nice flash by Remzi to get the flay up. I don't think young Neil can get out of this, no. And the kill will go to Remzi in the end, but the tier 3 at Tom has gone down, so it was certainly worth it for young Neil to distract them there. Now Molchinator, I don't think he can get away. Arcane Shift just came up and he's got the barrier. Vectatious is going to flash forward and Ignite will be enough there. The hook misses and Vectatious will be able to get out of this one unless Mountain Drew can use his home guard to jump on top of him. The minions will get in the way there as Ramsey pops the Talisman of Ascension. Alistair going to take down Kale at the bottom lane, and it looks like Vectatious will manage to make it out in the end. Kazak's just waiting off to the side to try and make something happen, but the ends up the tier 3 goes down for little to no response. Nicely done by Vectatious, has a Randuin's to his name now. And Mountain Drew going to try and take, or just farm a little bit himself, as Pole's doing much the same, going for a Bork to try and deal with the Olaf and the Amumu, even the Thresh, just to the bunch of or jump ability that they have. Poles, nice hook out of Remzi once again. Poles has nowhere to go now. He's going to try and fight it, but there's too much magic burst coming out there. Poor Machinator did not get anything from that, but Mountain Dew will be very happy with that pickup. How much gold is he sitting on? 1200, so could turn that into a Haunting Guise, could try and get a Giant Spell, get rid of his health potions, get the and work towards his Sunfire. Rhinoceros going to force the Curse of the Sad Mummy. Mountain Dew cannot land a Bandage Toss, and Rhinoceros gets the reset on the leap and gets out of there. But Ezreal's not finished with him just yet. The True Shot Barrage is almost available. Vectatious is going to take down Olaf at the top. True Shot Barrage is going to be avoided there. Meanwhile, Kale's going to use her ultimate, but I don't think it'll be enough. She's going to try and get the Jukes on, but Venom Spider is enough to take that down. So we'll find out exactly what happened at top. Olaf going to be taken down by Borg. Molchinator is going to miss the True Shot Barrage, with Molchinator going to use a flash, and the Mystic Shot. Kha'Zix barely cannot avoid that one, and a bunch of death goes around everywhere. About 8,000 gold, or exactly 8,000 gold, in Knife and Fork Patrol's favour. Top inhibitor going down very quickly. Remzi, not much he can do about it. Meanwhile, Draven going to annihilate Ezreal. Not a lot he could have done there, honestly, with Vectatious. He has the Sork Shoes, actually, which makes sense with the amount of magic damage that Shyvana can put out. Nice hook by Remzi. Can they try and save this? Vectatious doesn't have Dragon's Ascent. Will he actually get this down? Randuin's maybe enough. He doesn't get the inhibitor. Very well defended by Johno, Brown, and the big boys. I keep going to say Johnny Bravo, but that's not who they are. Nice bandage toss coming out from Mountain Dew there, and the flay to follow up. Young Neil falling lower and lower, jumps to the Wraiths. Will it be enough? Cocoon lands onto Mountain Dew, and now the Kale going to be jumping forward straight into an Alistair. True Shot Barrage doesn't hit much of anything. Young Neil and Polecat sharing the aggro as Poles does as much as he can. Nice pulverize from Polecat, and he's going to try and flash out, but Mountain Dew flashing to make sure he goes down. The Kha'Zix is in, and he takes down the Amumu. Double kill for the Kha'Zix at the moment as he flashes forward to get the reset. Poles falling lower and lower, but Sindri will end up going down. Nice repel to avoid the Mystic Shot there, and I don't think Molchinator can get away from this one. He's going to try, but the red buff of Poles is going to hold him in place. Although Spinning Axe is not going, and Poles not able to get that last Q off. Take him down. Meanwhile, Kha'Zix obliterating everything inside the red team base, going to end up taking the inhibitor down. And Molchinator, that was a little risky going that way, but it gets out in the end. Poor Ev for years not able to get his Nationals tooth in time to make a difference in this game. Mountain Dew at the Sunfire Cape still has the Amp Tome in case he wants to go haunting guys or whatever. Gives him a little bit of damage anyway, and he must have started with a bit of AP to be at 47. So at the bottom lane, the Johno Brown wave is pushing quite hard, but at the top, it's in blue team's favour, particularly with a Shyvana just murdering everything. Pickaxe picked up, which of course will add damage to basically everything she does, particularly Twin Bite, which is a double attack. Pole's going to be picking up some nice CS down here. Doesn't have as much AD as you normally prefer to have on a Draven, but has the balk to try and survive here. Pings going off by the blue team in the mid. They want to try and defend this tower. Undertow misses and avoids Spike and Mystic Shot. Both land. Young Neil taking a little bit of damage, but has Giant's Belt and Haunting guys, so he is fairly tanky. Oh, Molchinator gets jumped on. Forced to use Barrier there as Rhinoceros going to try and get away from the focus. Uses Ravenous Hydra, get a little bit of health back, but they take the Kazakhs down. Young Neil is soon to follow as well. Polecat going to also die. Decent pulverize, but it is too little too late. Teleport going off by Sindri to stop the rampaging dragon in the base. I don't think Sindri can stop this. There is Blade of the Ruined King available, I do believe, as well as the dragon form. No, he did use it. Randuin's is up, and they're going to try and take him down. Nicely done by Vectatious to pull the red team away. After 3 of her team went down, he still managed to get them to chase him. Will they be able to get him? Oh, that bandage toss was so close. The hook misses as well. Talisman Ascension going to be popped. They need to get this dragon down because they're losing dragon for it. So they didn't even mean to do that. So I think Vectatious knows he can't really get out at this point. Although bandage shots does miss, he gets burnt out, back out. Hook misses. Ezreal lands a Mystic Shot. True Shot Barrage cannot be avoided, and Renzi almost dies to the burnout trail. In the end, it's a dragon for a dragon. Much better trade for the Knife and Fork Patrol there, as Red Buff going to head over to the Draven, as Amumu barely manages to avoid Elise there. So one of the Nexus towers did go down, that's important to note. And the only structure remaining outside the base is the John Browno Tier 2 down at the bottom. Sindri running around has himself a Frozen Mallet and a Vampiric Scepter. So whoever he jumps on can't really get away. And of course, Draven, very hard for him to kite. So Frozen Mallet does indeed make a lot of sense there. We can see Remzi and Molchinator continuing to try and counter push up at the top, building up the tier stacks the longer this goes on, almost at the crucial mirror mana, so Ezreal will start putting out a lot more damage with the amount of mana that he has. Haunting Guys was finished up by Mountain Drew in the end, so his damage looking pretty good. Doesn't have the Sork shoes, obviously, because he's got the Moby boots. And this could be very bad for Kale. She just wanted her blue, but there is all going to try and flash away, but Ignite will end up taking that off. Rhinosaurus going to help himself to the blue buff that he just earned. Meanwhile, nice Lantern there, but Sindri may be left. Nice Talisman of Ascension as well. Remzi saving his team in the nick of time. Ragnarok used for some reason. I guess maybe to try and stop the Cocoon doing anything. So, nice disengage by Remzi to get his team out of there. As we, looks like Knife and Fork Patrol, they've finally been joined by their top laner after a long time. Dragon's sent into the pit, and I can't see this Baron living very long at all. There is a red ward there, but it's simply dying too fast to do much. True Shot Barrage is going to come in, but too little too late. It was quite close, but I mean, against the amount of damage that the blue team can put out at this point, I mean, you got a penetration Shyvana with the attack speed. All she needs is like a wit's end and she'd be looking perfect. Vexatious going to avoid the hook there. A lot of damage going onto Remvi, but the combo messed up by Polkat. They're going to end up saving him. Divine Intervention goes off. Rhinoceros very, very low. Doesn't get any resets. It means he goes down. Pol's going absolutely crazy, though. Sindri going to end up falling. Polkat manages to secure that one for himself. Will KO manage to get out? Does get jumped on by the spiders, but it is not enough. Ends up being 3-4-1 with Rhinoceros the only casualty for the Knife and Fork Patrol. They do take the tier 3, and it looks like Polkat wants this KO to die. Pols is on a rampage with that one. The inhibitor in the mid going to fall. They can transition straight over to the top, or they can go straight for the jugular. Which one will it be? They're clearing out the minions at the moment, and it looks like they may go straight for this tower here. Not a lot the Ezreal can do about it. Vectasia's going to be a little bit tankier now that he is a dragon. Curse of the Sad Mummy, not available. Polecat falling lower and lower, gets the pulverize off, but it is not enough. Blue buff heads over to Ezreal, flash away by Poles. So it looks like young Neil trying to sneak an inhibitor, but Sindri is all over that one. Will not let it happen. Remzi avoids the cocoon. Flash forward by Muchinator to try and get the Iceborne Gauntlet proc. He does get it in the end. Young Neil is, he's dead. There's no way he can get out of this one. He wanted to try and jump onto the Olaf. He's going to try and pull the old Wiffle Skiffle, but Thresh auto attack in the end is the one that picks it up. Looks like Rhinosaurus working towards his Guardian Angel. Vectasia's continuing to be a very hard pushing person, has 1600 gold. And Kazak's just waiting in the jungle at this point. He knows that Kale is nearby as well as an Amumu. As the tier 2 at the bottom isn't going to end up falling. This is the only tower left apart from this one, which is not looking the healthiest. This inhibitor is up. Red pings go off on the Kazakhs. They've got to be careful though. If they chase him and he leads them away, that leaves the base wide open for the blue team to just stroll in. Maybe even just Vectasius to stroll in and take it. Looks like he's going to go for the opportunity. Going to begin pushing Rhinosaurus. Can he get out? He uses the Void Assault to create some space. And a Polecat going to be there to provide a bit of a buffer there. As the disengage goes off, there is a lot of blue members inside Kitchen and Fork Patrol. Will they be able to end the game? The Rhinoceros is trying to stop the recalls going out. They do manage to take it down and disengage in time. There is no towers on the no towers protecting the Nexus at this point. Almost the entire red team coming out. Mulchinator, can he out-kite Rhinoceros? No, he cannot. And ends up falling. So now it is a 4 versus 5. Polecat going to get the knock up on Sindri. Nice cocoon there, but Ragnarok will ensure that he does not get CC'd back up. Curse the Sad Mummy goes off. It's Vectasius and Polecat, and now he re-engages. Vectasius going to Dragon Descent out of there. 2 inhibitors, 2 Nexus towers down, and the Nexus is wide open. This is the last stand of Johno Brown Patrol here in this first game of the best of 3, but the Nexus gets taken down almost immediately. And just like that, we have game 1 finished of this bronze match. So we'll have to see if anything can be brought to the table by the Johno Brown Patrol. No, sorry, the Johno Brown Big Boys BENQ, or will they leave on a 0 to 4th place? This is Cold Blood. Sorry again for the technical difficulties, guys. We'll try and get that sorted before game 2. And we'll be back very soon.